Welcome to the IM family. To Neha Sharma ma'am for taking out time to moderate this for us. The entire school fraternity, we have edu leaders today with us, we have teachers, we have parents and students attending this. And I also like to say a quick hi to the CL family who's logged in. Yes, we are talking about something very important, very interesting. IIMS has taken us by a storm suddenly. Students are excited, looking forward to the new integrated program. But there are a lot of questions on our minds, on the student minds, and what better than this platform to clear them? And when we have Dr. Sahai with us herself, I think we're looking forward to some great information sharing that's going to happen today. So I like to introduce, though the names don't need any introduction at all, but we have Director IIM Bodhgaya with us, Dr. Sahai, who has been appointed by the Government of India to head IIM Bodhgaya itself. She joined IIM as the founder director, and prior to joining IIM Bodhgaya, she was the professor of marketing at IIM Raipur and worked in a different capacity as chairperson international relations, chairperson doctoral program, and chairperson student affairs. As a chairperson international relations, she increased partner institutions to 18, while the number of students participating in the exchange program increased by about 100%. Two-thirds of the batch went for the IR exchange as chairperson fellow programs. Professor Sayar started the FPM in 2012 and the EFPM in 2013, making it one of the sought-after doctoral programs within a short span of 5 years. Thank you so much for taking out time on a Sunday, Dr. Sahib. We really value your presence here with us today. Thank you. Moderating this for us today is my namesake and somebody close to my heart, Neha Sharma ma'am, the principal of GD Goenka Public School. Well, her, if I start reading her profile, I think it's going to take probably, we are going to run out of time. Ma'am is a very known face. We see her on TV channels, we hear her on radio, we read books authored and co-authored by her. Currently, she heads the GD Goenka Public School at Ghaziabad. Ma'am has been participating in various forums of UNESCO, CBSE, QCI, NBET, KVS, various universities and schools invite her for panel discussions. And ma'am, the amount of work that you've done for the student and the teacher fraternity, we bow down in reverence and wish you good luck that you continue doing this work. Thank you for consenting to facilitate this show for us. Over to you, ma'am, quickly. And I will come in the end because we would like to question you as you represent the school student fraternity, the school fraternity as well. So I'm going to come back in the end to question you. All yours. Please take it from here, ma'am.
So, Namaskar, Dr. Sahai. It's definitely a proud privilege for me to be moderating this session. Rather, it's not about moderation today. It's about I'll be learning a lot for sure from your experience and whatever you'll be sharing with us about the work that you are doing for our children. And I'll start straight with one question which comes to my mind when I think about IIM Bodhgaya, that with IIM Bodhgaya's idea, what is the idea and objective behind conceptualizing IPM course, if we talk in terms of IIM Bodhgaya? And just want to know, I mean, is this a flagship course only of IIM Bodhgaya, or we can see like courses like this with other IIMs as well?
First of all, thank you, Neha, for those kind words. And thank you to Career Launcher and to the entire fraternity for creating this platform where we can directly talk to the students. And a big thank you to all my aspirant young students who are sitting there wanting to know about IPM. Good that you took this initiative and today you are attending this session. Now, coming back to your question, Neha, that what is the idea or what was the concept behind IPM at IIM Bodhgaya? Yes, you were right that as a program, this is a program which was started way back, I think, by IIM Indore, followed by IIM Rohtak. And this year, I think 3 of us have started IPM program. And I'm so sure in tune with national education policy, many more IIMs will join the same next year. So what we can clearly see that finally we are creating a platform, we are creating an opportunity for bright young future managers. I wouldn't say that it wasn't there, but the numbers available and the quality available were a question mark. So when this whole discussion of new education policy came into being, and we were being asked that how do we contribute in it? How do we actually make it more practical? This was the first step we have taken in that direction, that we are offering in the domain that we are known worldwide, which is management or business education, to create opportunity for people after K-12. So all those students, irrespective of the background that they come from, so they could be from humanities, they could be from commerce, and they can be even from science. But at that stage, wherever they feel that they've made up their mind that industry, commerce, business is something, or management per se, and when we say management, I think it is all pervasive. So they would always have this opportunity to specialize in hospital management or any other services management later on. But to begin with, yes, management is what they start with. So after K-12, we already had world-class institutions in engineering, we had it in medical, but there was very little opportunity available for students who are interested in business. And most of them either had to compete for very limited number of seats available or had to go abroad. And I can understand, and especially in COVID time, and even otherwise, a whole lot of parents feel that after class 12, a student is not mature enough to undertake an overseas education. It would be far better if we can create such opportunities back home in our country. So this is that attempt, that how do we prepare, how do we ground our future leaders? As concept, we were very, very clear. Maybe it came from the legacy from where we are, that is Bodh Gaya. And also, I think the whole precipitation has come also in form of the pandemic which the world is facing right now. All of a sudden, business, commerce, industry have woken up to the fact that human greed, in fact, has done far too much damage to planet Earth or Mother Earth. So in times to come, the leaders, especially in the area of business, commerce, and industry, they need to be more mindful about what they're doing. They need to be much more compassionate. They need to be much more humane in which the businesses are being run. They need to be more socially responsible. So this is the prime theme of the course that we are developing, that we endeavor to create more mindful and more socially responsible leaders. So, and possibly I think we have done everything, we shouldn't say everything possible, but we have made huge attempt to live up to this vision that we have created for ourselves.
It really, really sounded promising and reassuring. I mean, as a mother myself, of course, my daughter has done her thing from her discipline is different. But yes, if I think like a mother to a lot of students in my school and the schools that I've been part of, I think this is seriously very reassuring for me as somebody who deals every day with young minds. And one thing which I really liked about what you said describing this program is about mindfulness. I think we have done, our generation, we have done enough harm to whatever is around us. And I think this is the way that we can correct whatever we have done. And going on further to this, I also would like to ask, because, you know, I know that institutes like St. Xavier's, the Narsi Monji, Symbiosis and all, they also offer quite similar programs. So what's the basic difference between the one that is being offered by IIM Bodh Gaya in terms of syllabus and subject cover, and what is that adds a little bit extra to the program that is being offered, besides, of course, whatever you just mentioned?
Yes, Neha, you raised a very pertinent question. As a matter of practice, we do not talk about other institutions. So what I would talk more is about what we are doing. So see, look at the way we have gone about it. First of all, I think world over, since independence, if India has created um, any brand name that we all can be proud of, uh, I won't say that they're the only two, but two which are very, very prominent and top of the mind is IIT and IIM. No matter which part of the world you go, this three-letter acronym immediately gets you respect, immediately adds a credibility. And this has not come for nothing. You know, there's a lot of hard work, there's a lot of great work my legacy institutions, my sister elder institutions have done in this regard. So the very fact that IIMs have started this program, we were all very, very mindful. We were very, like we have a legacy to live up to. We have benchmarks to live up to. So one is that part. Secondly, if I say that these two brands have become what they have become for one simple reason, that only meritocracy prevails. So there is no other way to enter into the realm of an IIM or IIT. So a student has to be the best in class, a faculty has to be best in class. And frankly speaking, any educational institution primarily means quality of students and quality of faculty. So having said that, when this whole thing of setting up, an undergraduate program started taking shape in our minds, we were very sure that the quality is truly not to be compromised. And meritocracy is the prime concern. Now, who says that the merit only lies in the metropolitan cities? And we all know that Dhirubhai Ambani came from a very small town, and so many examples are there. Why name people? So that's why we were very clear that our admission process has to be very, very rigorous. We are all part of education. I won't like to make it 100% statement, but we know that other than CBT, computer-based testing, all other kinds of testing are subject to a lot of malpractices. I don't wish to comment on all that proctoring claims people make. Is lesser said the better. So closest that we can go to checking meritocracy is through computer-based testing. So we were very clear that there is no other way we will test our student. It has to be computer-based test. Secondly, it has to be into the nooks and corners of the country. We wanted to reach out to every aspirant across the length and breadth of the nation. So somebody could be tucked up in Meghalaya, he should also be able to write and also say in a small town in Bihar. So the 78 centers all across country will give us this opportunity to reach out to every student, even if pandemic is still raging. Thirdly, all this needs to be done by a very neutral agency who knows his business. So NTA was one major qualifier there, being part of Ministry of Education and having done test of the level of IITs, JEEs and NEET, we knew that the test would rest in safe hands. See, what is very important is we should not be compromising on the quality of the student that we are taking. So meritocracy has to prevail. So assessment has to be fair, transparent, just, and accessible. So NTA collaboration and the whole conceptualization of JIPMAT allows us that. Now, there's another one very characteristic part of it, that there is no weightage to the personality assessment. All that want is a raw, real gem of India. The students which you all teachers and principals across the country are nurturing and grooming and shaping. You would have done a decent job, that's what I believe. And rest, the students are going to be with us for 5 years. And I think if I as a teacher cannot groom them or teach them a language in 5 years, then what are we talking about? So we were very clear that personality wherein a metro student may get a very, I should not say undue, because they themselves have earned it very hard, but it's circumstantial as well to a large extent. So, and let me tell you, we have seen how recruiters are recruiting these days, because uh, even when they come after, like post MBA, they look for those conscientious, hardworking, sincere students, and geographies are not a constraint there. So if somebody could be from a metro, or somebody could be from remote part of the country, and more often than not, even language is not a constraint. So the right attitude is what matters. And I think with a good raw material, which a class 10 score, class 10, 12 score, and a ZipMat score, because at least that would map consistency across, at least for 3-4 years. And a right attitude is something which we would like to inculcate in them. So I hope we should be able to produce winners through that.
Indeed, whatever you said made a lot of sense. And when you mentioned about NTA, National Testing Agency, definitely the credibility of both the organizations put together, I'm sure, are going to bring to the work domain totally perfectly well qualified students. But when it comes to the children who have put in their heart and soul for this 5-year program, and they have really worked hard to get or earn that well deserved degree, their first thing that they have in mind is about placement. So if we talk about placement, so if we can understand a bit about, that, I mean, there's this thing in the mind of parents as well as students, that after doing graduation, if we do that 2-year course, or more, instead of doing it integrated course, if we do a regular MBA course, so will there be any difference in terms of placement if they go in for a regular course, or if they are doing this integrated course? Because placement definitely is high when they talk in terms of their list as to why they choose an institution.
I would first start with a disclaimer. Though I'm a marketing professor, so we keep joking, that uh, 4 P's we all know, but 5th P is placement. So, having said that, I would, since maybe I'm expecting that there were some students hearing me, and these days information which is available is also available for posterity, so people may hear it even later on YouTube. I must tell the students that do not enter management education just because you hear such fancy packages being offered in IIMs or across management institutions. I think management is all pervasive, first of all. Secondly, for the students who are not very clear, some students know they want to do medicine, some people know they want to be engineers, but then some who do not know. And I don't know why we force them to get fixed so early in life. Why do we want to necessarily put them in a jacket or straight jacket them? It's pretty much okay if you don't know what you wish to do. And this kind of liberty is only available in management education. Because, the first 3 years, even in those 3 years, we are exposing them to multiple aspects. So they're learning geography, they're learning maths, they're learning practically sociology, political science, finance, HR, everything. And even as they graduate, say once they've done their MBA, they have chance to be a good HR manager, where the skill set needed is very different. They can be a finance analyst or an investment banker, where the skill set is very different, or they could be in operations or IT or marketing. And the skill sets needed are very different. So even if you don't know after class 12 that what is that you're meant for, a good 5-year MBA program allows you enough opportunity to get to know yourself more, and then accordingly do specialization. And if you would have done like that with your latent talents, placements are bound to happen good. And I don't want to name institutions, but IPM is not a new course anymore. It has been around and few batches have already graduated, and numbers clearly show. I don't know whichever institution that I'm talking about, that most of the medal winners were IPM graduates or IPM students, and almost a very high packages went to them. So industry have really embraced this program beautifully. They have really appreciated the kind of talent, the kind of students which are made available after 5 years of rigorous training only around management. So they feel that they are far more valued and they are being compensated accordingly.
Right, I think that definitely clears a lot of air, and there are some interesting questions coming up on the chat. So I'll request the team accompanying Dr. Sahai, if you can take those up on the chat. I think that'll be good for all students who have joined us and who are really curious to know a lot more from you all. And taking it further, ma'am, I would like to also know that does this 5-year integrated program by any chance offer an exit clause if the student plans Harvard, Stanford, or a Wharton in between? Because that's what they would like to.
So Neha, the whole objective of being an educator is to set them free. There's no point holding on. So if a student of ours feels that after 3 years, he is ready for a program at Harvard or at Stanford or any other part of the globe, I think we as educators would never like to come in their way. So definitely there is an exit option available, because we completely understand that student after class 12 doesn't want to uh, get fixated in so many ways, and yet there's a whole lot of parents or students themselves who like the security that after 12 they've made effort, they've got into a world class institution, and that institution will give them all that they need for a great career. So either ways, if we are ready to provide them security of 5 years, and we are ready to give them exit option and the freedom and the wings to fly. And what we really want is our students should excel, and why should we come in the way, whichever way they feel like.
I think this will definitely answer the query of those who were thinking on these lines. And here I would like to a little bit be clear about the entrance exam also. So like DU management offers to attempt only for any student, not beyond. So does JIPMET for IIM Bodh Gaya have any fixed number of attempts? Or if student does not make it this year or wants to drop a year, or student from 2019-20 batch want to attempt IPM, are they eligible? And they do have a lot of queries related to JIPMET, so it'll be good if you can please throw some light on that.
See, I think one of the things which I completely believe in is you learn a lot by traveling. Fine. So I've traveled worldwide, and what I came across is across the globe in very almost entire Europe and very large part of Western countries as well. They allow most of the students after their high school, they take a 1-year drop, they travel, they go across the world, they learn, and they learn much more than what they would have learned in schools. So in any case, dropping is not a stigma. That's what I feel. And that's the reason we are in our setup, we are entertaining students from 19, 20, and 21. So we are giving a window of 3 years. So which allows any student and every student, for whatever reasons that they might have taken a break here, in young age, whenever, even if you're taking a break here, you're doing something and you're learning so much. And if nothing else, you're adding perspectives and you're becoming mature. So that in any case is not a disadvantage. We would rather take it very clearly in our reality.
Thank you very much. And I think this definitely will calm down the minds of a lot of children who were definitely feeling stressed out in these COVID times, because things have really gone out of control for everybody. And also, I would like to request you to share a piece of advice for students that how should they prepare for their entrance. Should the CAT papers or IP Met papers of Indore or Rohtak can be a benchmark for them? And there was a question in the chat box also, where a child wanted to know that there were some papers to be uploaded on NTA website. They are still not there. So if you could please guide them about how to kind of prepare for their entrance.
So one is piece of advice. See, whether we like it or not, India is a nation of 1.3 billion. And yes, it is not something which we really enjoy, because the kind of selection processes that we have, it is more of elimination because the numbers are so huge. Having said that, since meritocracy is a buzzword with us, so we have tried to keep it as competitive as it can be. So the students who are preparing, they need not worry. By and large, the pattern is same as in any management entrance test, because the skill set needed are pretty much common. So what we check on is pretty much given. But having said it, I think what I would do is, as we stop our conversation, I would request Ina and Ravish to update, or maybe
Thank you, ma'am. So the GIPMAT test, it comprises of MCQs, multiple choice questions, and we have divided the entire paper into 3 sections. First section being the quantitative aptitude. It will be of 10th level mathematics and only 10th, because the focus is on humanities and the commerce students as well. So 33 questions will be asked in the quantitative aptitude section. Second section comprises of the data interpretation and logical reasoning. Again, 33 questions would be asked on that. And lastly, we have verbal ability and reading comprehension section, wherein we will ask 34 questions precisely. So it is a 33 plus 33 plus 34 pattern. The total marks would be 400, and there would be negative marking of 1 for each wrong answer. Apart from that, we are giving 15% weightage to 12th score, 15% weightage to 10th score, and 70% weightage to GIPMAT score. So entirety lies in the performance in the GIPMAT exam. Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Sahai, would you like to add on something more to this, please?
so your students, now you know the pattern. And I think there are no surprises. Only thing what we have included here is the maths, which is coming is only up to class 10 level. That allows all the students from humanities as well as from commerce to be there.
Well said, I'll say. And indeed, this brings me the thought that management is not just science, it's also a lot of art. So I think you have to be really artistic and capable in a lot of intelligences, especially, if I may say, emotional intelligence is one thing that really works well when you have to become a manager of sorts. So I think this indeed is going to help a lot to all children who are viewing it today, and also those who may check it later, because with technology, I think this is one good thing that we have in hand, that this particular session is going to be there for the help of students, not just for today, but also for times to come. But when it comes to technology, though we have lots of advantage with technology, there are a lot of issues also that we face time to time. So as you mentioned about online examination, so when we talk about online examination, and that too without a technology glitch, I think that'll be something totally out of the world kind of a situation, which definitely I think won't be possible. So don't you think when we talk about technology, it'll be good to give them an online mock test or a mini test, so that they are familiar and they also get to experience the user interface beforehand? And are you having anything in mind in terms of, as a backup, if there is any technical glitch while this online exam and assessment is being conducted.
Neha, perhaps towards the early part, I had explained that why we did not do it any other way, especially purely online. Because we do recognize that though we have come a long way, and India today is a very networked country and broadband is practically everywhere, but still there are parts of the nation where we still cannot guarantee consistency in terms of internet availability and electricity availability. So we completely took help of NTA, and the backbone and the infrastructure and the number of centers and the infrastructure at every center. So I think with that kind of robust backbone, or a mainframe or a platform in which this test is going to be implemented or done, I think I can assure each and every student across the nation that all that you have to do is to just travel a little bit in case you are in remote cities. Otherwise, 78 main cities are covered, and be to the next closest center and attempt this computer-based test. Thereon, you need not worry. I think NEET with such high volumes are conducted so successfully, so we need not worry for our own test. And in terms of giving mocks and samples, yes, I think that is something which we would definitely like to look into it. If nothing else, it lowers down the anxiety associated with the test, where student feels more familiar, at least with the user interface and with the pattern. So that we would for sure look into consideration.
Thank you for this reassurance, because and also, as we can see, a lot of chats coming up, and even I would like to know a bit more about the academic weightage and student evaluation process. As if, like, say for example, if student A scores 90% and student B scores say around 80%, then how much advantage does one student hold over the other? And will you give any weightage to the grade 12 scores received by the students too? And if so, how will they be calculated? And especially this year, when grade 12 scores are not going to be the way they used to be until last year. So this year is indeed a very unique year for grade 12 students. And those who are appearing, as you said, that the window is open for other previous year students as well. So they'll have different grade 12 score criteria, and this year students are going to have a little different. Of course, it'll be very, very objective, but yet it's going to be different. So your take on that point, Dr. Sahai.
The details, of course, I would request Hina to share. I can only reassure my students that yes, you're right. These are exceptional years, and the jokes keep happening that these are COVID batches. But please, what I really wish to congratulate every student who's listening to me is hats off to your resilience. Hats off to the courage and the perseverance that each one of you have demonstrated. I know with so much of pressure every year, like for last so many decades, we've been talking about pressure on board students. For you, it was not just the board pressure, it was also performing in under such uncertain circumstances. So I would rather see it like this, that COVID batch is like a label that you should be wearing, like a medal which you should be wearing, because you are the ones who are doing it all amongst so much of turbulence, and it is not easy, especially when you are a 17 or an 18-year-old. So congratulations for having done so well. And you know, that is one of the reasons why we are new, no doubt about it, but still we were very keen to serve students. I can completely understand when an SRCC closes at 100, how a student at 99.9 feels about it. And these are crazy numbers. Like the joke keeps happening, na ki itna to hamare time mein sirf bukhar hota tha. So true, we've been watching it I think now for decades, every year. But imagine what a nightmare it is for a student. So what is important is, why are we only limiting such small number of seats? Why, for a population of 1.3 billion? I don't want to name these institutions, but there are such iconic colleges in Delhi University. But do you know that they have only 30 seats for a specific course, out of which say 15 will go for some categorization, and out of another rest 50, some another will go for some categorization, and how the rest of the students would be feeling about it. So we can't blame anybody else. The responsibility lies with us, the educators, to provide enough opportunities for our talented students. See, India, in any case, the biggest strength that we have is our talent, our human resource, as we keep saying it. And if, as educators, like I urge every teacher, every principal, every head of the institution, everybody to think on these lines, that if we are not able to provide enough opportunities for our talented students, sorry, this time we have nobody else to blame. We have to blame only ourselves. That's why, as educators, please get up, rise up, and create enough numbers for such a huge population that we have, huge population of talented people. And then, yes, then we all can aspire to be a superpower by 2030, which we all keep talking about and claiming about. Yes, Tina, you may give details of what all they're asking.
Yes. So I think this is one doubt which keeps on occurring and reoccurring again and again. So the only point is that we have given 15% weightage to 12 score, and many students are skeptical. So by the Supreme Court, it has already been communicated as per for CBSE and one or two other boards, but not as of now. State boards haven't declared which pattern and what would be the assessment on which the results would be released. So we are waiting for that, and that's why we are about to release and yet not release that how we are going to categorize the people or students who have scored 90%, who have scored 95% as of. So it is, rest assured, 15% weightage to 12 and 15% weightage to 12 score. Now, the question is of 70% score and 70% weightage to GIPMAT, which every student has to understand and has to score in that. Because even if you have scored less in 12 and less in 10, you have greater chances of getting into IIM Jammu and IIM Bodh Gaya, both, when you have scored better in GIPMAT. So there is one doubt regarding the student exchange program. So we currently have tie-up with some several reputed institutions, and I would just name a few countries with which we have been collaborating. So we have institutions in Germany, Taiwan, France, Greece, Russia, Mexico, South Korea, Morocco, to name a few. So any student who wish to go for exchange programs, so we are providing that opportunity to them to avail it. Apart from that, a need-based financial assistance is also provided by the institution to provide the assistance to economically weaker section, and rest assured, all these scholarship which are being promoted by the government of India, so we are considering them also. Yes, okay. So I will first start with the facilities we are providing. We have in-house facilities as far as, let's say, hostels, the academic block, the sports stadium facilities. So everything is in-house within the campus itself. Apart from that, a permanent campus is already 50% constructed. So we are assuming that by September 2022, we will be shifting to that. Then again, so it is within that 100 meters of distance from the hostels where academic block lies. So students will really enjoy it over there. Then we are focusing on physical and the mental well-being of the students. So we have sports complex, we have stadium, we have basketball court, volleyball court, the stadium, etc., and the mindfulness center also. Now, As far as the connectivity of this institution is considered, so we have high air, railway, and road connectivity. Within 5 kilometers of distance, we have international airport. Within 13 kilometers of distance, we have fully functional railways and as far as road connectivity is concerned, so we have a national highway in front of the institution itself. Then again, as far the course is considered, so I have just mentioned that our curriculum is divided into three segments, wherein enabler courses, core courses, and enhancement courses are considered. We are following a semester-based system in our IPM course. As ma'am has been mentioning it again and again, that they are young and tender souls with whom we are trying to welcome or collaborate. So they need to focus on the learning aspect and the practical aspect. So we are providing them enough time to imbibe that learning which is there in the institution and which is being offered by a reputed institution like IIM.
What will be a good score? What is it that'll ensure that they are getting into IIM Bodh Gaya? And I think this is a query of many others as well. So if this can be answered.
Actually, JIPMAT we are conducting first time. It's the first time that we are conducting. So, and we also really don't know what will be the score that students are going to score. So as of now, we cannot clearly say what will be the cutoff. So we can only, we also know once the exam is happened. So that's why we can't clearly now say what will be. Even say we are looking for sectional cutoff. Even the sectional cutoff, we only decide once the results are out. So based on the result, looking the result, we look into sectional cutoff. And in terms of sectional time limit, if there is sectional time limit, that will be declared by NTA, because NTA is going to, post the sectional time limit. And sample question paper, again, NTA will release sample question paper once the last date of application is over. The last date of JIPMAT application is 30th June. So those who are not filled application, please fill it fast. On 30th June is the last date to apply JIPMAT. And so NTA will be declared. After that, NTA will declare the website, in their website, the sample question paper. And if somebody want to know more about the details of examination, you can visit the JIPMAT site, jipmat.ac.in. There is a public information bulletin. In information bulletin, section 4 explain the pattern of questions and the details, the marks, negative marking, what are the kind of exam questions and sample question is given already. So whoever want to verify, you can visit the JIPMAT site and go to information bulletin section 4. Section 4 has explained the details. And the exam will be center based. If as of now, we hope that this pandemic, we hope that it will get sort out. But if it is changing, that again NTA will take the final decision how they will go and conduct the examination. And what about the date of examination, JIPMAT examination, again NTA will release with the other examination that NTA conducts. So we hope that mostly it will be August. In August only that examination will happen. Other date, please visit our website as well as our social media for any updates. So we'll be updating as soon as the date and sample question paper, all these things released, we'll be updating it. So that, or you can be in touch with us also. Any queries you can ask even through social media or to direct through us. So we'll be happy to answer your queries. Thank you.
Okay, so children are actually and
add to Ravish sir's point. So few students have been asking that whether we are offering any internship opportunities or not. So after first year, we are offering a retreat program. After second year, we are offering a rural immersion program. And after fourth year, there is going to be an industrial internship. So these three have been kept considering the IPM course, that is a 5 years duration. So three things we are offering apart from the core discipline specific knowledge and the enhancement and the enabler courses. Yeah. Ma'am, you may continue. Yeah.
Okay, so then the children, I mean, for their age, this is one very serious question, that will the calculators be allowed? And will they be allowed to have pen and paper to do the calculations while they are attempting the online test? So please, this is something very serious.
Again,
So-
that will be decided by NTA. So before the examination, NTA will again give a notice, and they will clearly send to the students what all things are allowed, what all things are not allowed. Again, we are not deciding that that factor. That NTA will be decided.
So children, here I'll give you one assurance that NTA, of course, is a testing agency, but is a very student-friendly body. And last but not the least, there's one query that I think many students are really curious about, that are there any scholarship opportunities for the students who are bright and want to pursue an integrated course but lack resources?
As of now, we have a need-based financial assistance as well as the, whatever the government scholarship are there. That is what as of now, like a meritorious scholarship based on their CGPA. As of now, we are not decided, but in future we might look into that aspect. As of now, we are not looking into that. And there was some question that after 3 years, after exiting, whether they will get degree. So you can exit any, like after first year, second year, or third year. If you exit after third year, you get a BBA degree. And to promote, you get a promotion to our flagship program, that is MBA program. You need to have minimum 5.5 CGPA in the first 3 years. So first 3 years, if you have 5.5 CGPA, only then you qualify for a MBA program. In case of Jammu, it is a 6 CGPA. They need minimum 6 CGPA. Only then you qualify. Otherwise, you can't. You have to repeat the section, and minimum you have to get a 5.5 CGPA. And once you have done MBA, again, when it's an IPM is not a separate course or a degree. It's just a 2-course integrated course, and there won't be any separation. Once you are going to our flagship program MBA, there will be students that is coming from appearing CAT examination with maybe industry experience, much senior than you also. But there won't be any difference in terms of a CAT student or a student that is enrolled for IPM. Both will sit in the same class, both will attend same placement and everything. There won't be any distinction in terms of any things. Because it's the first 3 year when you complete, you get a BBA degree, then another 2 year you get an MBA degree, and it will be along with the students. The advantage for the student is the students are there in the campus, they know the faculties well, they know course much better than those who are coming for MBA. Because they have learned here, a lot of course, like the way we arrange our curriculum. Somebody was asking that about mathematics. So we arrange the course in such a way that every semester we have a mathematics course, every semester we have an HR course, every semester we have a social science course, every semester we have a communication course, every semester we have a skill-based course. So we made it well balanced, so that no student will feel there are too much cons in one semester or too much theory in one semester. It's well balanced, so that if somebody is weak in some, also can overcome. And we are starting each and every course from very basics to advanced. So in the first, again, our program is semester based. If you look into indoor, it is a tri-semester. We kept it semester very purposefully, so that student will not have that much burden, because they will get enough time to prepare and other things. So it is a semester based. So, and from very basic to advanced. So we are going step by step. First year, it will be very basic things will be taught. Then second year, little advanced. The third year will be well advanced. So that is how we arrange the curriculum, so that everybody, the person coming from any stream, science, commerce, or humanities, any stream of 12th, they will be comfortable in our program. And then they will be joining our flagship program, where they will have already learned all basics and thorough with that, and then they are going for advanced in the PG program again. So they they will we will train them, and we will equip them in all field in terms of communication, skill building, all the basic things which the students will require. So that is an advantage of this program. And again, student, our director already mentioned that student here get a clear career path from very beginning. And not only that, we have an incubation center already registered. We are highly looking for an incubation. We want many incubations to be started in our incubation center. So here, an MBA student, just 2 years, he doesn't have much time. 1 year, he just learned the subject. Second year, it's all about placement and other things. But here, a student for 5 years, he has enough time to test himself, try and fail, again learn, and again test. So this incubation center really contributes as well. So these are the advantages of our program. So that's why, IPM is entirely different from
So
other
please
courses.
highlight about the fees, course fees.
Okay. Our course fees is 4.5 lakhs for Bodh Gaya and 4.85 lakhs for Jammu, and 4.5 lakhs include hostel fees as well. Only mess fees will be extra. Otherwise, 4.5 lakhs is Bodh Gaya. Jammu charge 4.85 lakhs for the first 3 years. Okay, this 4.5 lakhs is for the first 3 years of the program. Every year 4.5 lakhs. The last 2 years, that is MBA program, will be the fees will be on that particular year. What will be the MBA fees? So it will be around 7 lakhs, 7 or 7.5 lakhs. There will be slight deviation. What is prevailing in that year, that will be charged as a fees.
Neha ma'am, if you'd allow me to come in at this time, because I think the IM team has really been at the questions, lots of them floating in and through chat boxes and otherwise. But I must, ask you something because you represent the school fraternity. So we would really like to understand, especially for students, who are in class 12 now or 11, that how is the edu fraternity looking at these integrated programs? What do you feel as edu leaders about it? Because for years you've also just been seeing the 2 year or a 3 year program. How do you feel about the integrated program? And also that examinations have been an old story, especially for a batch like 2021. More than about 400 days that a serious examination has taken place. So are schools also equipping students? Are they planning to do some kind of workshops or trainings for students to help them take these kind of serious examinations now that they're coming their way again? These two questions for you, ma'am. Over to you.
Okay, Neha, so I'll start by saying that yes, these integrated programs, they make lot of sense. First thing, that they save 1 or 2 precious years, and so when you are new to the work domain, initial years you spend in settling down there. So if there is an early entry to that domain, you at least are having some more years in and to make those early year mistakes. I'm not saying everybody will be doing it, but if there's someone like me who is sure, going to fumble a bit in the first and second year. So I think these are good when it comes to, they give them some extra opportunity. And also one thing, because I've seen a lot of students going in for integrated programs, even my daughter did one, the kind of flexibility that students get when they are doing integrated programs is immense. Of course, they get to study the core subjects, but as Dr. Sahai was also mentioning about the variety of other things that the children get to study besides the core subject, the kind of electives that are offered to them, the kind of different courses that they can do as per their aptitude and their liking. The integrated programs offer much more flexibility in terms of what you are getting to learn and what you can choose to learn. So yes, I feel integrated programs hold a lot of value in today's time, and that too, overall personality development, which I feel is to be done using a lot of things in mind. It comes more conveniently through integrated program. This is my personal take on it. And as far as children examination non-seriousness, see, this is just 1 year that they haven't appeared. For past 14 years, they were 14 years, they were appearing for exams. So they are well prepared to take on any exam that comes to them. This generation is a very serious generation. These 21st century kids are way smarter than we all are, and they have their priorities more clear than any one of us, I think, here in, who is senior to them. So I don't think, of course, this year is different. This year is an year which none of us expected will turn out to be this way. But nevertheless, if they'll be given an opportunity to appear for a serious exam, I'm sure any exam that they know that is having high stakes, they take it seriously. This is one thing which I'm sure about all the bachas. that they know where to draw a line, what to prioritize, and where to take things sincerely and seriously. So yes.
Well answered, ma'am. And I think your confidence in them will further boost more confidence. That is for sure. And I think we've crossed the hour, so I think it's time for some gratitude. I'm going to give it back to you, ma'am, to thank Dr. Sahai, and then we would come back to thank you all.
So I'll definitely would like to place on record my sincere thank to Dr. Vinitha Sahai. Ma'am, it was really great listening to your views and understanding a lot and everything about IPM course of IIM Bodh Gaya. And Professor Tina Bharti and Professor Ravish, they pitched in really well, and they have answered the queries that children had, along with all the team members who have joined you from IIM Bodh Gaya. I'm sure children, you definitely must have had all your queries answered by now. And the team Career Launcher that has put together this entire session today for the good of children, I'm sure the children are going to personally thank them for this session. The thank you notes are already running in the chat box. So children, before we end, you were already told by Professor Ravish that in case you have any query, you can contact them through their social media. So if there's anything that got missed out or was unanswered, you're requested to kindly connect them over social media, and I'm sure you are definitely going to do well in your lives, not just in this one examination. So with all lot of best wishes, we'll be signing off now. So shall we say goodbye, Neha?
Thank you so much, Neha ma'am. I think the best part about your moderation was that it came from the student's heart. Actually, every question that you asked and the way you asked, I could actually see imagine as a young 12th standard student sitting there and questioning. And thank you, Dr. Sahai. Thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts to and the entire IIM Bodh Gaya team for being at it completely, as I've said. Yes, it looks extremely promising. The team looks very well planned, and they're already very welcoming. Every time ma'am spoke, I think there was a welcome in her voice which said, "Come and join us, be a part of us." So we must encourage this, budding new little, friend that we have waiting for us there. And so, students, as Neha ma'am has already said, we are very sure you're going to do really well in life. This is Team Career Launcher, always by your side. We will be conducting more such sessions, yes, and we will be coming back, with whatever you wish to know. Thank you, everybody. Have a great Sunday ahead, and keep learning, keep preparing for these entrances, and fly high. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, ma'am.